It's an interesting time for business. Tariff and trade policies are dynamic, supply chains are squeezed, and cash flow, it's tighter than ever. If your business can't adapt in real time, you are in a little bit of hurt. So how do you get full visibility and adapt in real time? Over 42,000 businesses trust NetSuite by Oracle, your AI-powered business management suite. It brings accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR all under one roof. NetSuite is the #1 cloud ERP for a reason. It's your single source of truth, giving you the data and control you need to move quickly. Real-time forecasting helps you move into the future with confidence, and with AI built in, you can automate the busy work and focus on strategy. NetSuite helps you see what's stuck, what it's costing you, and how to pivot fast. If I were running a business with a lot of moving parts, I'd use NetSuite for full control over everything. Tame the chaos with NetSuite. If your revenues are at least in the 7 figures, download the free ebook, Navigating Global Trade, 3 Insights for Leaders at netsuite.com/SPI. That's netsuite.com/SPI. You spent months building towards launch day, but when the clock hits 0, your site crashes. Bots swarm, and loyal fans rage on Reddit. That's not good. Fanfare was built to stop that. Fanfare is the drop platform made for high-pressure moments, stampede-proof infrastructure, verified waitlists, and bot filters that actually work. Instead of refunds and rage, you get retention and revenue. And that sounds great to me. Your next launch shouldn't be a gamble. Get Fanfare's 5-step hype drop playbook and learn how to bulletproof your drop at fanfare.io/playbook. Again, that's fanfare.io/playbook.
These community builders, they have these kind of like smaller, tight-knit, high-touch community experiences where like they weren't necessarily even trying to build an audience. Of course, it's easier if you already have an audience, but you don't necessarily have to have an audience to create the community. The community in itself, a small, tight-knit community where you all accomplish something together, that could be like the end-all, be-all destination.
Welcome to the Smart Passive Income Podcast, where it's all about working hard now so you can sit back and reap the benefits later. And now your host. One of his biggest regrets was not starting his podcast even sooner, Pat Flynn.
With running your own business, legal questions always come with the territory. Like, can I use this contract or agreement? What do I do if a client doesn't pay? Am I even structured the right way for taxes? Instead of Googling your way through legal landmines, imagine having a law firm ready to address your business's legal needs without the sticker shock. That's what you get with Legal Shield's small business plans. Legal Shield helps entrepreneurs access real legal help on contract reviews, collection letters, business formation guidance, and even help navigating IRS audits. Members can schedule consultations, upload documents through the app, and get support from a provider law firm that knows small business laws in your state. Plus, consultations on taxes or trademarks help you stay ahead of potential problems. And if a client is late on a payment, Legal Shield steps in with professional collection letters so you can protect your hard-earned revenue, all for a fraction of the price of hiring a lawyer on your own. Go to LegalShield.com/SPI or call 833-570-9980 to learn more and get big business legal support without a big business budget. That's LegalShield.com/SPI. Do you know the secret to businesses that are scaling faster than ever? They're using Upwork to tap into a diverse pool of skilled freelancers across various industries. With Upwork, you can find specialized freelancers in marketing, development, design, and more. Experts who are ready to help you take your business to the next level. I've personally used Upwork myself and can vouch for it. Posting a job on Upwork is easy. With no cost to join, you can register, browse freelancer profiles, get help drafting a job post, or even book a consultation. From there, you connect with freelancers that get you and can easily hire them to take your business to the next level. Upwork makes the entire process easier, simpler, and more affordable with industry-low fees. Post a job today and hire tomorrow with Upwork. Visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That is Upwork.com to post your job for free and connect with top talent ready to help you grow your business. That's Upwork.com. Again, Upwork.com. All right, we're talking all about community. That was Andy from Circle. Many of you know that I'm an advisor for the company, and we use Circle to host our community, SPI Pro, at spipro.com. And it's been a massive game changer for us, not just Circle, the platform, but leaning into building communities. And that's exactly what we're talking about today. It's almost a state of building communities in 2022 here with Andy from Circle, because he's got access to 5,000 plus communities and what's working and what's not working. We're going to talk today about launching and price points. We're also going to talk about, well, who's community for, paid communities versus free communities. So if you have a business online in 2022 and you are thinking about building a community, well, this is the episode for you. So here we go. This is Andy, and I hope you enjoy this from circle.so. And our affiliate link is smartpassiveincome.com/circle in case you want to check it out. But here we go. Lots of stuff to chat about. Andy, welcome back to Smart Passive Income, my friend. Thanks so much for being here today.
Pat, thanks for having me.
We had you on last year to talk about community, and we have you on again to talk about community because so much has changed. A lot has happened, not just in Circle and the company, but in the world, of course, and in online business, and how communities are becoming more and more where people are looking toward to not just build an audience, but bring them together. And I want to use this opportunity to speak to you to not just talk about the trends and also what's coming in the world of community and building communities online, but where is it right now? And let's help convince those who haven't yet started a community about why that's so important to do right now. Why is now more important than ever?
Yeah, so I think something that happened, if you look back 18 months ago, 2 years ago, a lot of us, we weren't thinking about online communities so much. But then we were forced to right away. And so it wasn't this calm process of creating these communities online. It was like, oh no, my business now needs to move online. Like, how do I handle this? And everybody was trying to kind of figure it out together. And I think what happened was that accelerated these learnings. And now we have a lot of people who are building businesses, but now they're thinking about how to add communities to their businesses, but they're able to do it in a calm way with a lot of the guidance and learnings from the last year and a half or 2 years, as certain folks really accelerated the trend and figured a lot of it out. Like the SPI Pro community, you were kind of on the cutting edge. You had to figure a whole bunch of things out. And now there's a lot more belief and experience from people who have done it before. So,
right.
So I think we're seeing that. And now, like, you don't have to convince people as much that community is important. Like, it's really easy to understand that if I sell an online course and now I can also rally a group of people to all go through it at the same time, improve their student completion rates to get bigger outcomes. Like, it's easy to wrap your head around that. And now we kind of have the playbooks for how to do that, or how to take your blog. And instead of having one-to-many, a bunch of readers, letting your readers connect with each other. Or if you have a coaching business, instead of just having my individual clients where I have this like one-on-one kind of experience with all of them, but if I could add even more value and connect them all with each other and tap into the collective intelligence of all the clients, I think people are just more open to those approaches now.
Yeah, I agree. And of course, tools like Circle are making it easier to even get started now that we kind of know that this is the direction a lot of us want to go. In your vision, because you have so much access to your communities in Circle, are we seeing more communities being built after they've built an audience somewhere else? Or are they actually, in fact, using communities to build an audience? Like, where are we on the spectrum of those two things?
I would say probably the most surprising thing that we see, at least when we started Circle, we never expected this. So we have 5,000 paying customers now. And there's a really big long tail of all these different types of communities. But if you actually look at the majority of our customers on Circle, these community builders, they have these kind of like smaller, tight-knit, high-touch community experiences where like they weren't necessarily even trying to build an audience. They actually just said, hey, I'm going to create this small group of 40 people who are all trying to accomplish this thing together, or all kind of going down the same journey together, or have a shared experience. Then, of course, it's easier if you already have an audience to then say, hey, like, what else could we do? Could we go a step further? Could I give you more value here? And then create a community. But you don't necessarily have to have an audience to create the community. The community in itself, a small, tight-knit community where you all accomplish something together, that could be like the end-all, be-all destination.
Yeah. What are some examples of like smaller, tight-knit communities that you're seeing in the platform right now?
One of my favorites is a community called Fresh Exchange. And they have it's not that small. I think it's about 100 people, 150 people, which to me sounds actually like a lot. And it's a paid community. People pay for access, but
Mm-hmm.
they cook with the seasons. So every season they will go and, they have, recipes, and they kind of share as they go through this, few month period together about, cooking with the seasons. And so like, it's niche. It's very specific.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody in there, they're kind of like rallied around the same topic. Now, another example could be, so one of my favorites is an endurance community. And they basically, they run, they bike, they stay in shape. But I think it's like 22 people or something like that. It's like less than 30 people. And it's about like daily accountability. So what they're not doing is they don't have like weekly office hours and expert interviews in there and deals and discounts and big active forums where everybody's chatting all day long nonstop. They have one thing they do, and it's just I know I wake up in the morning, I run do my endurance or whatever. I just got to check it with my crew for accountability. And like, if the community does nothing else other than that, it's a huge win for them.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it has that feel of just friendships in a tight group like that, and you kind of stay in forever. And that, you said that even that smaller endurance group is a paid group, like somebody's managing that and getting paid from those users to be in there.
Yeah, and it's actually, so it's really a coaching group is what it is, because there's like one coach who said, hey, you're my client and you're my client, but you want to do the same thing that they want to do, and so you can learn from me. But let's also like learn from each other. And that would be even more valuable. Mm-hmm. And so they pay for access to that. So that coach, they offer that as extra perks.
We talked a lot about premium communities, big and small. Are we seeing a lot of push toward free community? I know that this was huge back when Facebook groups was like the thing, and you could find your people and then you'd go in these groups, and some of those groups were tens of thousands of people. And they always felt, I've never been in a group that big that felt like home, and so there is something to be said for like small groups. But even using communities, even if it's not supposed to necessarily feel like home, but at least a place where there's other people like me, this is where a free community can work really well as sort of a lead gen or a place to host a free challenge or something. Are you seeing on Circle specifically any successful free communities, and what are some things that they're doing in there?
Yeah, so I would say just one key difference to keep in mind is that even if these communities are free, you can still, how somebody discovers and gets into the community is really important. So maybe I am on Facebook, I'm looking at my friends and family photos and stuff like that, and I see a recommendation for a Facebook group, and the right-hand side, I click to join it. I really need no investment. But you could have a free community that you own. And if somebody goes to it and first they land on a really nice landing page, it explains exactly who it's for and testimonials and exactly what they'll get and what they won't get. And then they go through that whole process and get into a free community. They've still jumped through a couple of hoops. You've kind of pre-qualified them. They know what to expect going in. And then when I'm a member and folks get in there, I know that they also went through that process. And so I think that helps a little bit. One thing that we've seen a decent amount is, folks who they have kind of like the free community, and that's like the main attraction, but then they have hidden parts of the community or gated parts or parts where you like pay for extra access, and that kind of unlocks certain spaces with premium perks and things like that. It's pretty common.
When it comes to community, whether it's paid or free, what gets people to keep coming back? I think one of the benefits, again, of Facebook is just, or at least the way Facebook was everybody was in there anyway. So any conversations that were happening, you'd get notified on and whatnot. And it was very simple to like, oh, let's go back to the community. Versus, what we found at SPI Pro and what we really want to happen is people will actively log in and, as simple and without as much friction as possible, just continually make that a part of their routine. But it's harder because it's not on a platform they're already on. It's separate. Yeah. And so there's benefits to that, right? We know that they're not going to be distracted. We know that they're here for this specific reason, but it's harder to train a person to continue to come back. How do we create that habit that is built into Facebook, but outside of Facebook?
Yeah, I think there's two angles you can come at it from. I think there's the strategy,
Mm,
uh, the strategy of making your community valuable, worth coming to, and there's like the technology around reducing the friction. And that's just like tool specific. And so we can talk about both. So, the
sure.
first is I always like to use the analogy where like when I was a kid, I loved baseball and I loved like Derek Jeter was my role model. And if Derek Jeter if he had his own community and there were 50 people in there and we were all like learning how to play shortstop from Derek Jeter, it doesn't
Mhm.
matter where it is. It would be so valuable to me. I would go there and I would be there every single day.
Right. You'd go through hoops to make sure of it.
Right. And so the one thing is like, obviously, you make your community really valuable, but like, how do you do that? I would say we have this concept that we've used a lot, and I don't remember who came up with it originally, but it's definitely not us. This concept of like having signature gatherings. And signature gatherings are like these like rituals where, we might have like we have our weekly office hours even in our own private customer community at Circle, where people
Mhm.
come every single week. And so a lot of times the same people, they develop friendships. They're like live on camera and video and talking with each other. But you might have your own version of that. The other thing is we've talked before about this concept of like the hot seat, where, everybody gets in a room. If there's 8 people, you all try and solve my problem this week. Next week, we try and solve that person's problem. And it's kind of like the collective, brains around it.
Mhm.
But it's a ritual. And so we might do it every single week. Like the endurance example I gave you before, like every single day, they just know they're popping in there. They're going to like share the picture at the end of their run or whatever it is and give each other feedback. But like that's happening every single day. And so it's like a ritual that's tied to something really valuable. And many of these communities, they don't care so much what people are doing in between the rituals. But the rituals themselves, if those are set
Mm.
up, then all of a sudden now there's like a cadence there that you can get into, like a pattern.
And sometimes those rituals are purposeful, right? Like, hey, everybody, on this day, every day, we're going to do this, or every Friday, this happens, or this gathering happens once a month. Here's the calendar. But then I know that sometimes those rituals will kind of organically come up,
Yeah.
and that can be really neat too, because it actually comes from the users, and they like one person will say something a certain way and then somebody will follow, and then it becomes a thread that you're just like, let's continually do this. And that's like the most fun thing to see. We've seen a lot of that happen as well. So that's a lot of the sort of strategy. And I love the idea of rituals. And I agree, even in back in the day when I managed Facebook pages, I would notice that on the days where people knew things were supposed to happen, things were hopping. And then in
Yeah.
between, even though they always had access to each other, nothing was happening. So the approach should be to maybe insert some sort of regular programming inside of your community. How much is too much with regards to that? I know that there's some communities who are like every day at this time, and then like it just becomes too overwhelming. How do we know where the line is?
So I've seen so many things that work, but the way I think a lot of like our team internally think about it when we look at what's working right now is it kind of is like almost like a menu. Like,
Hmm.
for instance, the SPI Pro sales page for the community. It's a really great sales page and it kind of walks you through everything you're going to get. And, that evolves over time. So like, I don't know exactly what you get today versus 2 months ago, but
Hmm.
if you're going to have an expert interview, like maybe that's happening once every 2 weeks. And I know like that's something kind of on the menu where I might come and that's like something I care about. Or maybe there's smaller little mastermind groups and coaching groups and we kind of have our own little culture in there. Like that's something that maybe I care about or maybe I don't care about. But if I'm at a buffet and there's all the food, I'm not just going to eat it all because it's there. I'm just going to choose, what I like. And that's
Hmm.
how you might think about starting to build the value in your own community is you might have certain things you can kind of like add to the menu
Hmm.
and then encourage people to only participate in what they want to participate in. And you can do that during your onboarding experience. You can kind of make it just part of the culture in the community.
Right. I was going to talk about onboarding because if you have an extensive menu, which we're always adding new things to try to add more value, we've actually taken away a lot of things too, understanding that, okay, well, maybe these weren't as valuable as we thought. It's always good to experiment and try. But I think it's really important in the onboarding process, and I'll link to a video in the resource page or the show notes page to something called the Open Circle that we had once done on YouTube, where we reveal sort of our onboarding process. And Jay Klaus takes us through that exact process. And it's so key because you could share the entire menu and a person almost feels like they have to go to everything. I think like I was surprised by that. Even though it was on the menu, when people missed it, they felt bad about it. But,
right.
And it was like this pressure. And the same thing happened when I had a daily YouTube channel at one point. People felt the pressure. And then when they started missing things, too many things were being missed. And then it was like, oh, I guess I'm just, I'm not good enough here. I'm going to leave. We don't want that to happen. So in the onboarding process, you got to be very clear with, here is the menu of items. You don't have to eat everything. Pick and choose the things that you really, really want. And so again, we'll link to that resource in the show notes page to a YouTube video. Can you talk about some of the technological ways that we can get people to habitually come back to the platform?
Yeah, so this is something that we spend a lot of time thinking about. And there are certain things that like we already do at Circle and a lot of different platforms do. And there are certain things that we're investing in now that you'll see, released over the next few months. And I'll talk about what those are. But as an example, the first thing when we talk about onboarding is just like getting people to actually know what's in there. And I don't want to skip over it, the onboarding piece, just because like as soon as somebody comes in, they have all these kind of expectations about what it could be. And your job is to like not scare them away, make sure they know what's there, but also like have them take little actions in order to like get familiar with the tool, right? And actually in the SPI Pro community, do an amazing job of that. I think it's basically like a checklist that you have where you're like, do this, then do that. But those things that you're encouraging people to do, it's like, it could be send a DM to somebody. And now I know how to use the DMing feature and I maybe have made a connection with somebody. It could be, I go through this checklist and all of a sudden at the end of the checklist, I get some cool little gift or something helpful, or you unlock a space for me or whatever it is. But like, it's like that little dopamine, and it's kind of like, I'm getting little wins, but I'm getting wins in those first 15 minutes of joining the community.
Right.
Now, after I'm in, there are things you can do. Like, for instance, at Circle, we have a weekly digest. It gets automatically sent out. And if I'm running the community, each of my members, they'll get their own personalized weekly digest, which shows the discussions that are most relevant to them and things like that. Now, that'll go out automatically, but you could even make your own custom one if you wanted to, and send that out to your members once a week. And in there, you can link back to the most exciting posts. You could say, hey, did you see that Kelly asked a question here? Does anybody know, can anybody help her? And you link out to the post, you send people back to go help. Or let's celebrate these 3 people here for doing X, Y, and Z. And then you link to them and you highlight them back in the community. So you can hit them up through email and then drive them back. The other thing that's important, something at Circle we want to do better at, is being on all the different platforms, right? So for instance, right now we have an iOS app, and that's really important. A lot of people access their communities through the iOS app, but we're rolling out an Android app and a desktop app, and being on every platform is critical. Like a desktop app, for instance, it's just there. Like Slack is just there. It just goes off. There's the notifications on your computer, right? So that's actually for us something that is coming out relatively soon, actually ahead of the Android app.
That's exciting.
But that makes it a lot easier for people if they just, it's right there on my desktop while I'm sitting here at the computer all day.
Right. I mean, like on Slack, you could log in to get access to it, but the fact that it's on the desktop enables certain kinds of notifications. Speaking of like technology and communities, I know that in conversations I've had with people about Circle, Discord always comes up. And Discord has a very interesting history in the world of community, and especially the gamer and the like kind of communities. How do you respond? I'm curious, when people go, oh, well, how does Circle differ from Discord? Who's Circle for and who's like Discord for?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, like I personally think the world of Discord. I think it's awesome. We're historically we've been pretty different in that Circle has been much more asynchronous post comments replies, where Discord is very much like talk, chat, real time messaging.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I think our roadmap is pretty public, but we're very close to rolling out our new. But actually, by the time this is released, we'll have rolled out our chat spaces where you can do like Discord type chat, Slack type chat right inside of Circle, right? So we're literally weeks away at this point.
That's awesome.
And so that's going to be it. It enables you to have these like real time, off the cuff, casual chats without having to like spit up a post and feel exactly like Slack might. The other thing is, video live streaming. So, on Circle as an example, you can do live streams. You could have 1,000 people. You could pull people up on stage, all of that. But then there's also like the more intimate, smaller groups. And so like something that we don't do that Discord does as an example is like they have an audio room where you could have 20 people in there just talking to each other. Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that's something that we're building, but all this kind of more synchronous real time stuff, like the live stream and stuff that we just rolled out, that's stuff that when we didn't do it, we were much different, like much further apart from Discord.
Yeah.
In terms of real time versus async.
I mean, I use Discord in a few communities, and I'm a member of many Discords because I'm big into the YouTube space, and that's where a lot of communities exist from YouTube. But honestly, like Circle's so much easier to use. So for anybody building communities, I mean, Discord feels like the Adobe Photoshop of communities, where it's like, oh, it can do that, but then there's like a million things and then all this new language you have to learn. What I find very beneficial about Circle is it just works so easily that you can get in there and start communicating right away. And that's like what we love about it with SPI Pro. Plus, it just is a little bit more professional feeling, right? So if you are a coach, for example, I mean, I can't imagine coaching people through like a Discord, but I do coach people through places like Circle. And so I think the target market's different, but also just the ease of use. And with all the things, like every single thing that you've been rolling out has been everything that we've like needed. And I just love that. Whereas like Discord will come out with something and I'm like, that's specifically for like live streaming gamers who have Patreon, who have this. And it's just like, okay, that's like way too much stuff going on over there. So again, I appreciate that. And you talked a little bit about timeline and things coming out, the desktop app, the chat feature and whatnot. Like, is there anything else you can give us as far as insight on what you're planning and why? Like, where did the data come from to make and inform those decisions? Curious.
Yeah, so it all ties back to kind of like one key strategy, which is we don't want to be prescriptive, and we don't want to tell you, hey, here's how you should build and run your community. Like our belief is that like you have a vision for your community, right? Like what you want it to be. You want to have like these types of activities in there, these value props. You want it to like look like yours. But what we're essentially building are the building blocks so that you can kind of take the building blocks and mix and match them. And as a business owner, create that community. So like maybe you want some like chat spaces. Maybe you want post comment replies. Maybe you want weekly events. Maybe you want to have like, a coaching call that's live, but only for a certain part of the community. Like whatever it is, you kind of need to like almost use these building blocks in order to create it. The thing I like to think about is like Notion, kind of like, Notion, like it's kind of just, they give you the building blocks and you get to like put it all together. Mm-hmm. That's how you might think about Circle. So you will see more building blocks come out, like an events building block. Chat spaces.
That's a great differentiator. I love that description. I'm going to use that when I talk about, especially with the Notion analogy. I like that. So what other blocks are we going to see? Anything interesting? I mean, there's probably a million things that I'm sure are on the pipeline or at least have been asked for. What are some of the most popular things that people are asking for and what might be being built?
So let me tell you, because our engineering team will will kill me. But so let me just tell you what is being considered, not what we're actually like actively building and delivering on now.
Okay. We can get some feedback from the audience then, and maybe push for one or not.
Yeah. So a couple of things that are being considered, strongly considered, is the ability to have just like spin up a video room where you just drop into it. You can chat with people in real time. It's not like an event. Like we already have events, live streams.
Right. Like a Zoom room, like kind of breakout room kind of thing going on?
Exactly. Like a breakout room, but you can drop in, drop out, right? And they can go away when they're done. Same thing with audio rooms, right? Kind of almost like a little bit like Clubhouse, but like lives inside of your community for your people. Yeah. They can just hang out. So that's one example. The other thing, we're thinking about is how to make it easier for you to teach, for instance, inside of a Circle community. We're thinking about how to make search better, right? Because like these communities, there's so much amazing knowledge shared inside of them. But what happens if I come back 6 months later and I want to like find all these ideas that have been shared? So, making search really important, making search really easy is important. Same thing with like chat spaces. There's all these discussions, in Slack, you go in and there's like your search history is really critical. Like now, what if when somebody signs up to your community, you say, yeah, you're getting the community now, but you're also getting all these ideas and the knowledge that's been shared for the last year and a half since the community started.
Yeah, I didn't even consider that. You mentioned teaching. Are you hinting at potentially creating a platform, like an LMS inside specifically, or because I know there's integration with other tools and stuff that do that, but are we thinking of bringing that in-house kind of thing?
Yeah. So basically, just making it easier to have like lessons inside of Circle.
Because you can kind of hack your way to do that right now, and even in like Slack, you could hack your way to do something like that. But tell me more.
Yeah. So I think like certainly you could already like people have like lessons and things like that. But what's really Circle does not have like the best live stream feature, right? It does not have the best like chat spaces. Even when we roll our chat spaces out, it does not have like the absolute best member profiles. What's really magic is like when you get them all to play really nicely with each other, right? And so the vision is that you'll be able to have people sign up and have subscribers. You'll be able to have automations. Let's say somebody signs up for the community, you'll have an automation that says, we want to automatically send them a private message and make it easy for them to go and say hello to this person over here. And it triggers like an announcement. So like a lot of like automations and workflows built right into the community. It's almost like if your community was like a CRM with automations, workflows. That's something that's a priority. Yeah.
That sounds really exciting. That like, would I be able to say, in 2 weeks, send this message to every new user that checks in on them to see how they're doing?
Exactly.
And that would just DM everybody, whether they came in tomorrow or 2 weeks from now. They would always get it 2 weeks after they came in. And yeah, I mean, that's where like, bots were a thing for a while, like on Facebook and message platforms. Everybody was talking about bots and bot marketing, but I'm like bots for just random messages on Facebook or ads even just seems, it didn't really work for me. But to be able to automatically check in on people to see how they're doing inside of a community that I know exactly who this person is and what they're signing up for is huge. I absolutely love that. This is all really exciting. I do want to cover a question I often get when it comes to community, and we can finish off here. And it's related to price points of charging. What do you charge to bring people into your community? This is probably the most common question I get. I do have a lot of people who are excited about creating community, but then when they consider the price point, they're just deer in headlights because it feels like they're just blindly choosing. How would you help a person figure out what the price point should be for their community?
So I would start by wanting to know like what's the value they're delivering? What's like the format? There's certain formats that they take more time and investment. You can command a higher price. You need to command a higher price in order for it, like the math to actually work, right? So if it's going to be, so our friend Josh Hall, he has a really great community, and I think it's $100 a month, and it's for freelancers. And by the way, great example of somebody who has like a coaching business and then connected all of his clients with each other, like just as a new revenue stream. They all get way more value. It's such a no-brainer. But like that's a little bit more hands-on, and he's helping professionals. He's helping professionals earn more at their craft. You can charge more for that. It's hands-on. It's helping people earn more money. Whereas if you're thinking about like something that it's a little bit of like a softer skill set, right? So you've seen people like exercise. If I had
learning piano,
something like that, it's harder to charge much more, because like I might anchor it in my head. I'm like, well, I could hire somebody in real life to come here, give me a private lesson. What would that cost? That might cost, I don't know, it could cost $100. I don't know. But so when I anchor it there, like it's probably got to be less. Like it could be the kind of thing though that I pay $50 a month for, or $100 a month. But that's kind of how I think about it, like anchor it towards like what would be like the more premium version of this or the less premium version of this, and use that to hone in.
Yeah, that's a great place to start for sure. And the anchoring and seeing like, well, what is it all that you're offering? Is it hands off? In which case you charge less? Is it more hands on and you charge more? And like you said, I think the industry that you are in definitely matters. And it's definitely a lot easier to charge when you are helping people make more money. But at the same time, also think about how much time you're saving people, because time is even more valuable than money for many. And so, all those things considered, I think it's important. And then like the last thing related to that is launching. How are you finding successful courses or successful communities on Circle? Like how are they best getting more people to come in and launching their communities? What are some maybe really unique or easy to follow strategies that people are using to, announce and get people into their community?
Seen recently a lot of folks launching their communities very similar to how they might launch a course, where, they have the sales page, they have email sequences, they announce it to a group of people, whether it's small or large. But more often than not, like we're very rarely seeing these communities launch where there's thousands of people in the first group. It's often 40 people. And it's 40 people that are probably like already in the ecosystem of the community builder. They maybe already have a little bit of a relationship there, and they're going into it knowing that this community is a work in progress, and kind of like expecting that they're going to almost help build the community with the community builder. And so like that part of it's pretty transparent. That's what we're seeing most commonly. But there's, a pretty nice sales page as an example. Like they know before they launch it, like who it's for. They have some hypotheses around it. And it's just like inning one though of the journey. It's not like, hey, we have this beautiful polished community. They're not trying to pretend it's something that it's not. The people that do it right, they're just upfront about that with the new members.
Yeah, I mean, we did the same thing when we launched SPI Pro. It was very upfront. We had a smaller price point for those, kind of as a reward for those who were coming in early and trusting us. And there was no expectation that it was perfect for sure. But they definitely, there's always going to be early adopters who want to be first. And that's kind of who you're shooting for. And you want to also utilize them as feedback for what should go in or what should not go in, or what's great or what's not great. So that when you launch this again and more publicly, it could actually reach more people and excite more people too. The founders launch is often what it's called, or the beta launch as some call it, which is awesome. And then what we found works really well is just continually adding into the language of just your brand, the fact that this community exists. And when you talk about people, if they're a member of SPI Pro, talk about it. If you had some interesting conversation in there, bring up that conversation, but then don't forget to talk about where it came from, and just like mention the community. Like we don't hard sell it all the time, but we are talking about it all the time. And so when the sale comes, people aren't surprised and going, what is this? They know it exists. And then if there's a deal or a special moment or, it's the enrollment period, they're more likely to join. And so, Andy, this has been really great. A lot of things are changing rapidly, but it's very, very exciting. And I'm so excited for all the upcoming features. And I just, again, want to thank you because without you and without Circle, we wouldn't have SPI Pro because it just made it so easy to build. And we just continue to really enjoy this relationship because you've helped us even when we've had requests, and everything that's coming in the future is definitely on our minds of things we need to. So thank you again. Any final words of encouragement for people who are building community right now?
Well, Pat, thanks for having me on. You guys have been amazing advisors for Circle. And, the way it's turned out is that ultimately you've been amazing advisors for a whole bunch of new community builders because you really led the way. And then now everybody's, looking at SPI Pro as kind of like a model of, hey, here's like one viable path for how to do this. And my only message for folks out there who are considering creating some type of like membership or a community driven membership would be, don't get too overwhelmed. Instead, just kind of like think through, how can I deliver some value? How can I scope it down? What are maybe the 1 or 2 or 3 signature gatherings I could have in my community? And just start there and know you can do more. But if anything, try and do a little bit less, 2, 3 signature gatherings. And that can be enough to have a really successful community just on its own.
I love it. Thank you, Andy. Appreciate you. Stick around for more info. But again, I appreciate you and we'll talk soon, okay?
Thanks. Appreciate it, Pat.
All right. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Andy from Circle.so. Again, our affiliate link for Circle, if you're interested in checking it out as a platform and using it, is smartpassiveincome.com/circle. And we recently ran an event together called CX Day, which was really awesome. And that stands for Community Experience Day. It was sort of a planned co-hosted event between SPI Media and Circle. Again, you can tell we are leaning into Circle and community so much because it's just, we haven't had this kind of feedback from anything that we've done in the past before. I mean, even our courses, even our most successful course, Power Up Podcasting, I mean, we get some great feedback from that. The feedback from people being able to connect with each other and us being able to facilitate that has just been unmatched. And I want that for you too. So again, if you want to check out the resources, links, and everything mentioned here in today's episode, go to smartpassiveincome.com/session573. Again, smartpassiveincome.com/session573 and spipro.com if you want to apply and come in the next time we let people in. And you better get in soon because we are raising the price point. It is something that we are doing because just the more and more we're putting into it, the more value that there is in there. And we want you to be with people that are just like you, who are entrepreneurs, who want a safe space to connect with each other, hold each other accountable, find that support, and get pushed to move up into the next level of your business. And we're looking forward to seeing you there, spipro.com. And again, thank you for watching and listening all the way through. I appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Until then, cheers, peace out, and as always, Team Flynn for the win. Thanks for listening to the Smart Passive Income Podcast at smartpassiveincome.com. I'm your host, Pat Flynn. Our senior producer is Sarah Jane Hess. Our series producer is David Grabowski. And our executive producer is Matt Gartland. Sound and video editing by Sean West Media. The Smart Passive Income Podcast is a production of SPI Media. We'll catch you in the next session. Hey, fellow podcaster, does this sound like something you've experienced? Record your podcast episode on one platform, download the files, edit in another app, then fire up a different tool just to create these social clips. Well, it can be clunky, time-consuming, and frankly overwhelming, especially for creators trying to grow. And that's why I'm excited to tell you about Riverside. Riverside is the all-in-one platform. Record, edit, and repurpose your podcast content all in one place. You just log in, record with your guests no matter where you are in the world, and just like that, studio-quality audio and high-resolution video. We use Riverside here at SPI as well now. With built-in AI, I can automatically clean up my audio, saving myself so much editing time, and it can even auto-generate clips to make promoting the show a breeze. And with Magic Clips, I can grab the best moments and repurpose them as short-form video, perfect for YouTube Shorts, TikTok, or Instagram, without re-recording a thing. So if you're tired of juggling tools and want a faster, simpler way to create and scale your content, it's time to try Riverside, built by creators for creators. Just go to smartpassiveincome.com/Riverside and use code SMART to get 1 month free on the Pro plan. That's smartpassiveincome.com/Riverside, promo code SMART. More people dream about building their own business and being their own boss rather than retiring early. But a majority of them never even take the first steps to register the business. Why? Because starting a business can feel overwhelming. With legal forms, paperwork, finances, it's a lot. And that's where Taylor Brands comes in. Taylor is a complete business builder designed to make launching your business simple and stress-free. You can register your LLC in just minutes, keeping your personal and business assets separate from day one. And from there, you can get access to everything you need to get off the ground, from legal documents, licenses and permits, invoicing and bookkeeping tools, and even a 100-day business coaching program to help you hit the ground running. You'll also get a free personalized business plan, branding tools, and so much more. And of course, our listeners get an exclusive 35% discount to get started. Just head to taylorbrands.com/SPI. That's TAILORBRANDS.com/SPI. Stop dreaming, start building with Taylor Brands.